I started this account to get into watchmaking as like a counterweight to all the work that I do in my day job to automate businesses with AI. And nobody pushed back on that. But as I get more and more into watchmaking, I'm realizing that it's kind of a nuanced topic, and I'm kind of feeling confused about it. So listen to this, it's a bit long, and tell me your thoughts. All right, so here's what I mean. The very first thing I did with watchmaking was I put together a movement. And I was like, oh, but is this really watchmaking? All I'm doing is taking this set of pieces that already exist and screwing them together, placing them in the correct positions. It's difficult, but is it making? It's building. But that was fun. It was so fun. And then since then, I haven't put together any movements because I just buy them pre-made. And so then watchmaking kind of drops down to selecting pieces and putting movements in cases, putting dials on movements, putting hands on dials. Like, it's pretty straightforward. Again, it's still difficult and you can make mistakes and still have to do some troubleshooting, but I don't think it's making. But then I started wondering, well, what is making? And that's where things got a little bit muddy. So it turns out that making of all these pieces and parts really is about first designing them in CAD and then making them with a CNC machine. And so then that raised another question. What does it mean to be like a Swiss made, for example? Does that mean your CNC machine is in Switzerland? Does it matter if your CNC machine is in my basement or in China or in Switzerland or anywhere? It's just a machine. It's going to follow the instructions. So that was kind of interesting. And then I was like, well, but maybe the highest end, like Rolex and AP, they don't do CNC everything. They do. They definitely use CNC machines to make their cases, to make dials, to make bridges, to make movement parts. All those are CNC machine made. So what do they do that's handmade? Well, with those companies, they definitely do hand finishing. But even that is starting to change a little bit. For example, hand finishing includes terms like anglage and tremblage. So those are like anglage is putting beveled edges around all the pieces and parts of a movement, like all the bridges, basically. You just put a little beveled edge on it, and you can do that with tiny little things, little engraving tools and other like abrasion tools. You can do that by hand, and they do. Like the Vacheron Constantin definitely does hand finished movements, and hand finished dials and hand finished like a lot of things. But they definitely also use CNC machines. And these days they may be getting closer and closer to the finished product before applying the hand finishing. For example, with a CNC machine, those things are getting better and better at doing that detail work. Like for anglage, for example, it can apply a more constant pressure over a curve than a human being ever could. So we can get more precise movement pieces and parts with better, more precise, perfect finishing out of a CNC machine, a modern, 2026 CNC machine, than we could even a few years ago. And that changes the game. So what do we value? Well, we definitely value Vacheron Constantin. We pay a fuck of a lot for it. But do we value it because we don't really understand the process that goes into making that stuff? And we don't understand that process has become more and more automated? I think there's actually a big part of us that is that way, because I got no pushback when I said that I was getting into watchmaking as a ballast against AI and automation. Everyone was like, awesome, yeah, watchmaking is a human craft. But it's less and less so. The design of watches is absolutely human. And for me, that is actually kind of my favorite part. I love designing watches. And I like thinking about what's possible. And what's possible sometimes comes down to what human hands do versus sometimes comes down to what CNC machines can do. I just don't know exactly. Here's one thing. Another thing. This is interesting. Like, if you value accuracy, you're going to get that through machines. No amount of human effort creates greater accuracy than machine effort. Machines are better at accuracy. The movement being exactly within tolerances that's gonna happen through machines. So if you care about human effort, then you should probably drop, and you want more of the thing to be done by human hand, then you should probably drop your like super high accuracy expectations and allow for a little bit of give. That's actually similar to something else in my life, which is surfing. There are all these hand shapers that got really mad when people started ordering and buying boards that are basically produced by machines in China. But then at the end of the day, the Chinese surfboards won over because, again, they're created by the equivalent of CNC machines. They could be made in my basement, in California, in China. It doesn't matter, just wherever the machine is. But they're so much more reliable. You know that you're going to get to within millimeters or less the exact shape as the previous one you bought, so you don't have to buy a ton of surfboards from your shaper hoping for that magic board that just happened to have all the right volume in just the right places to surf just perfectly. Like, surfboards are really specific about how they interface with the water, and little differences in volume in different places really make a lot of difference. So same thing with watches. Like, if you want accuracy, machine made. I don't know where this leaves me. I don't know what I want. Like, obviously we're buying tourbillons from China that are under $100, but they're incredible. So where is the value? What do I actually care about? What am I willing to pay $3,000 for versus $250? I'm not sure. I know that I like it when people put effort into something, and I know that with mechanical watches I don't care that much about accuracy. So I think that's the direction I'm leaning in a little bit, is like those human touches that shine through all the way through the design and the manufacturing or creation building process. I think the more of that there is, the more I can value it. And those values can get really high, into the thousands, tens of thousands. But as soon as I find out that someone's just charging high prices because they can, even though most everything is just machine made with a little wipe with a, hand finished by breathing on it, and I hand finished it, then I think I'd like to see that called out. Like, let's tell each other when that happens.